Information shared on the following program is for general information purposes only. It does not constitute legal, tax, investment, or other advice, nor is it intended to recommend any particular investments, products, or financial instruments. Always seek advice from your financial advisor, attorney, or accountant with regard to investment, legal, or tax questions.
Tony, I'd keep playing. I don't think the heavy stuff's going to come down for quite a while.
Welcome to the only show in the country dedicated to helping savers worry less about money, the Worry-Free Retirement, with your host, best-selling author and fiduciary, Tony Walker.
Do you like to fish? Growing up as a kid in Lexington, Kentucky, one of the things my father enjoyed doing with me and my brother Marty was taking us fishing at the local pay lake. Now, believe it or not, back in the 60s, long before Fayette Mall was constructed in Lexington, located at the intersection of New Circle and Nicholasville Roads was a small pay lake where, for a few bucks, novice fishermen such as us could wet their lines and catch as many 6-inch long bluegills as one could stand. And while my dad knew nothing about fishing, he was cheap enough to know how to save a few bucks for some family fun. That's because to fish in a pay lake and catch fish, all you need is a simple cane pole, a few red and white bobbers, some hooks, and a can of slimy worms. Catching bluegill with cane poles was easy for us kids. We'd stand on the shore, swing the cane pole and line into the water, and wait for those greedy little bluegills to take the bait. Patiently waiting for the little red and white bobber to plunge beneath the surface of the water, we would then proceed to yank the line out of the water, swing the cane pole around to the shore, and presto, appearing before our very eyes was this little fish. Pretty simple stuff. And while many of the bluegill in that pay lake didn't take the bait, we knew that if we fished long enough, some of them eventually would. So what do a dad and his 2 young sons fishing for bluegill, hungry for a good meal, have to do with you in the financial world fishing around for your money? Well, let's find out. Welcome, folks, to the Worry-Free Retirement. And before we learn how savers need to avoid taking the bait of risk and uncertainty, let me introduce 2 fellow financial fishermen we can always count on to steer us in the right direction, and that's America's favorite financial sidekick, Mr. Aaron Orander, along with our graphics expert, Mr. Derek Hudson. So, let me repeat our opening question. Do you like to fish? Well, if you're like me, the 2 questions that follow that question might be, yes, if you can show me where the fish are, and secondly, if you can quickly tell me which bait you use to catch them. You see, for me, my dad, and my brother Marty, we didn't really care about what type of fish we caught. We just wanted to catch a bunch of fish. And the best place to do that in the 60s was a well-stocked local pay lake. Same holds true for many in the financial world who are fishing around for your money, though. With more than 10,000 people turning 65 each and every day, the financial world knows that there are tons of frustrated savers out there hungry for better returns on their money and easily tempted to follow the crowds into uncharted waters in hopes of earning a better return. You know, gone are the days of swimming around the safe and secure structure of the financial pier we call the bank, earning 6 to 7% on those old CDs. No, today, with banks paying next to nothing in interest and a risky stock market at all-time highs, is it any wonder that many savers are being lured by peer pressure to leave the safety and security of the pier? Add to the fact that over the past several years, your friends, coworkers, and family have, on paper that is, made a ton of money in their 401k plans by investing in the stock market, you may now feel tempted to take the bait and follow the crowds into the waters of risk and uncertainty, a phenomenon known as the fear of missing out, or FOMO for short. So what are savers to do? How can a saver, someone who knows that they don't like to take risk, not take the bait of swimming away from the pier of safety and security and follow the crowds of peer pressure? Well, as you'll soon discover, the secret is found not in chasing after returns, but in knowing how to use and enjoy your money before it's too late. You stay tuned as we learn how to take that 401k plan, maybe that inheritance you just received, and yes, even all that money you've got over there languishing at the bank, and how we can create a safe and simple game plan you can count on. I'm Tony Walker. You stay tuned. I'll be right back. Wondering how much money you'll need to retire? Probably a lot less than you think. I'm retirement specialist Tony Walker, and for the past 36 years, I've helped thousands of savers determine when to retire and how much money they'll need in retirement, and I can help you too. To meet in person at no cost or obligation, let me invite you to log on right now to TonyWalkerFinancial.com or call the toll-free number on your screen. We look forward to talking with you soon. Our Live Well, Die Broke moment is dedicated to my late great father-in-law, someone who knew a lot about fishing, Mr. Bill Moore. Here's just a few of the many lures he used in his day to catch a lot of largemouth bass. Funny, while old lures can be worth a bunch of money, what I appreciate about Daddy Bill, as we used to call him, was that he used his lures to catch fish. He didn't buy them for investments and put them on a shelf. No, he used and enjoyed those lures. Still, curious to know if these lures were possibly worth some money, I asked my favorite son-in-law and fellow fiduciary, Mr. Trey Juergens, who back in the day was actually quite a fisherman, before I talked him into getting out of the boat and onto the golf course to play some golf.
Tony, I'd keep playing. I don't think the heavy stuff's going to come down for quite a while.
So, Trey has been charged with the task of searching the internet to see if any of Daddy Bill's old lures are worth any money. So, Trey, how are you doing today? And first of all, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. Thank you for having me.
Oh, you're welcome. By the way, boy, here's a picture of you. Aaron, let's throw that picture up. Where'd you catch that darn thing?
Oh, that's a muskie. That's back in my days. I had a big group of college buddies, some of them from Illinois, and we went out fishing one day and ended up hooking into about 3 that size. So they're not any good to eat, but they're a lot of fun.
Oh yeah, well, you can see I don't know much about fish. And then you taught at the time when you were dating my daughter Lacey how to fish. Sounds like she had some really good luck catching this big whopper.
Yeah, that's a trophy there. That's from Kentucky Lake down at Ken Lake Marina.
Well, that looks like what you would have used to catch the muskie probably, right, as bait?
You can use that the next day.
Okay, Trey, real quick, did we find out anything on Daddy Bill's old lures? I know you did some research.
Yeah, they are great lures. They're top of the line. I know he was a big fisherman, but unfortunately, since they don't have the box to go with them and they're not in mint condition because he actually used and enjoyed them, I think the fish enjoyed them just as much. They're not worth a whole lot, but they're a lot of fun to look at and hang on the wall.
All right. Well, Trey, we appreciate you joining us and doing a little research there for Daddy Bill's old lures. I'll see you soon. In the meantime, you make it a good one.
You too. Thank you.
You are so welcome. All right, good stuff there. Let's get back to the show. Let's go to a Tony in the Trenches. And boy, this is a doozy. This is basically says, Tony, I'm 61 years of age and plan to retire in a few more years. Currently, I have most of my life savings in my company's 401k plan, which obviously most savers do. While it has done great, listen closely, folks, I'm getting very nervous that there will be another stock market crash between now and the time I retire. This person is feeling what a lot of people feel as they approach me. It's one thing to be 40 or 45 and go through a crash, but when you're in your 60s and the thought of going through a major downturn, it's pretty scary stuff. So Richard from Wrightingville, by the way, goes on to say, you mentioned the split IRA concept. Is that something I can put my 401k into now while still contributing to my 401k? So before I show you this graphic, let me set the stage. Many of you are not aware of this. If you are over, in most cases, the plan documents will allow this. If you are over the age of 59 and a half, listen closely, and you work for an employer, even if you're funding the 401k plan, most of the employers, those plan documents that guide the 401k, will let you roll over the 401k to someone like us. In this case, Richard's asking about our split IRA, which I'll show you, and you can still contribute to the 401k. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to show you a graphic our own Derek Hudson has created. Derek, let's take a look at this. So this is a typical 401k plan. You contribute money, and in many cases you have an employer contributing money into this big bag of money, which grows and grows and grows. And then all of a sudden, let's say in this case you're over the age of 59 and a half, you have the opportunity to move that over to our proprietary split IRA concept. Now, why in the world would you want to do this? Well, first of all, you now arrange your money where you have so much more flexibility and more safety, and of course, if you would like it on this back end, that beloved mailbox money I'm talking about. So how would this work? Let's say we'll take Richard's case, he's 61, he wants to keep contributing to the 401k. So what we would do, our offices at Tony Walker Financial, we're set up to do this. We have several rollover specialists who will contact the custodian of your 401k plan. The way we do this, we get you on the line and then the custodian of the 401k plan. We confirm that the money, yes, can be moved because you're over age 59 and a half. This is called an in-service withdrawal, okay? So what happens is that money gets moved over and split into these buckets. Now, the good thing is, if you want to do this, you could continue to contribute to the 401k plan. So here's what's going to happen. You're going to have money with us, with Charles Schwab. Now, why would we use Charles Schwab? Because it's completely flexible. We can get the money out at any time, and if you so choose, we can take some risk with that money. Not a lot of risk, but we can take some risk with the Charles Schwab bucket. In this bucket, which is generally the annuity bucket, what we can do is set up what's called either an accumulation annuity and or, sometimes we'll do more than one annuity, an income annuity, so that down the road, when you actually get into true retirement, when you get into your late 60s, early 70s, you can kick in that beloved mailbox money that'll guarantee you an income you can never outlive. So if you don't have an arrangement like this with the flexibility to have your money accessible to you and use it anytime you want to invest it however you want with a local retirement specialist watching over all this, and of course if you don't have annuities built into the plan, if you're a saver, my question is, why not? So if you're over the age of 59 and a half, if you're already retired, maybe you got a 401k with a previous employer that you would like to move into our split IRA concept, let me invite you right now to go to TonyWalkerFinancial.com, click on that Let's Get Started button, and we'd be happy to show you how the split IRA works and also if you're eligible to roll your 401k into it. Well, I hope you're enjoying the show. Right now, we're going to come back. Some interesting stuff coming your way about cryptocurrency and how you can guarantee an income you can never outlive, plus leave money to your heirs on a tax-free basis. I'm Tony Walker. I'll be right back. Have you recently retired, been laid off, or offered a pension buyout? Has the company you work for moved, been acquired, or closed its doors forever? And finally, do you have a 401k with a previous employer you'd like to move to safer territory? Then take advantage of this opportunity to move your 401k or lump sum pension to Tony Walker Financial. Let's meet in person to discuss your retirement options. Log on now to TonyWalkerFinancial.com to schedule your free, no obligation appointment. Let us help you today. Last week we talked about the latest shiny new financial instruments used to lure savers from the safety of the Pier and after the crowds of peer pressure, and it is something referred to as cryptocurrency, and man, has it gone gangbusters over the last few years. Interested to learn more about the most popular cryptocurrency of them all, something called Bitcoin, I recently watched a video by a well-known, highly educated investor of Bitcoin, Mr. Michael Saylor. And while the lure of Bitcoin is much too speculative for my tastes, I did agree on one of Mr. Saylor's main points that applies to any investment and what it should provide. Let's take a look at those. Well, first of all, the investment should keep up with inflation, which I agree. A second point Mr. Saylor makes is that investment should provide for adequate growth. And then number three, you should be able to leave something to your family on an efficient basis. Now, very sound advice, but there's a problem when savers are lured into thinking that Bitcoin, or any speculative investment for that matter, yes, even a lot of the stocks and mutual funds contained within your 401k, might be for them. And here's the problem: the uncertainty of those type of investments. You see, for a saver to be worry-free, to keep up with inflation, to earn a reasonable return on the money, and to leave the most of the money to the heirs in the most efficient way possible, you're really rolling the dice when it comes to many investments. Take cryptocurrency, for instance. A recent article talks about the taxes one might owe on the gain, something that many people do not factor into the equation. So not only can you make a lot of money with cryptocurrency or any stock for that matter, you can also lose a lot of money and pay a lot in taxes. So, Tony, you ask, what can a saver do to enjoy more of their money now and still leave something behind? Well, might I take you to page 112 of my book, Live Well, Die Broke, where we talk about these three particular buckets. The bucket's intention is to keep up with inflation, grow the money adequately, and to provide for your family in the most efficient way possible at death. So let's take a look at my personal planning and how I utilize these three buckets. Mainly, I'm going to talk about the first bucket I call the mailbox money bucket, which consists of fixed annuities. Now, this is one of my annuities right now. I took this out at age 53. I put in $285,000 into this plan, but I don't want to take the money now. I'm still working and enjoying my work. Well, here I am at 61. This is called an income account. It's guaranteed to grow at a certain amount, and now it's guaranteed at $341,000, my current age. And if I took income right now, it would be $13,000 a year for life. Let's fast forward to 70, at a time when I'm probably going to kick in my mailbox money. So on a guaranteed basis in this particular contract, I will have in the income account over $600,000, and that will produce for me for the rest of my life, let me repeat that, guaranteed for the rest of my life, $30,000 a year. Now, there is a little bit of a problem with this. If me and my wife Susan live a long time, there's a good possibility that there won't be anything left for my family, for my kids, and I want to leave them something. So it enters in the number two safe strategy investment. Gets a little more complicated, but hold on. This is a dividend participating life policy. I purchased this when I was 51 years of age, and the original death benefit was $500,000. Now, I'm putting a lot of money into this thing. I'm putting in over $16,000 a year, and if we fast forward to today, I'm age 61, notice the death benefit has climbed from $500,000 of tax-free cold hard cash to over $900,000, plus I have $293,000 of cash. I can use it anytime I want, and if I do it right, tax-free. Well, let's say we scale on down here. In fact, Aaron, let's go to a close-up of age 81. If I'm still paying $16,287 a year for the premium based on guaranteed death benefit, this is guaranteed, my family will get over $1.1 million when I die, not if I die, when I die, tax-free. With dividends, it's estimated to be over $1.4 million, and incidentally, this company hasn't missed a dividend in over 100 years. So folks, if you're looking at something like this saying, Tony, I didn't even know this stuff existed. You mean you can do this kind of stuff and guarantee a return on your money, guarantee tax-free proceeds to your family? How come nobody's talking about this? Well, folks, these are not risky products. This is not something your 401k nor the folks on Wall Street are going to talk about. This is the type of things that savers should be concerned about. So if you don't have something like this, or you'd like to look at something like this, there is absolutely no cost or obligation to talk to me by phone or even meet with me in person. So right now, why don't you log on to TonyWalkerFinancial.com, click on that Let's Get Started. We can either have a free 10-minute fiduciary phone call with myself, or if it warrants, again, I'll be happy to meet with you in person at no cost or obligation. TonyWalkerFinancial.com, or call the toll-free number on your screen. Well, what does the Bible have to say about crowds and FOMO, and where did Jesus come into all this, and what words of wisdom can he share with us about not getting caught up in the crowds? Good stuff coming your way. I'm Tony Walker. Let me get a cup of coffee. I'll be right back. One of the most frequent questions I'm asked is this: Tony, when can I retire? It's a great question, and one that many advisors are afraid to tackle. Why? I think it's because most advisors do not truly understand retirement planning and how and why a written game plan is the key to being worry-free after you decide to retire. I know this to be true based on all of the daily interviews I conduct with savers who are retired or nearing retirement and simply need help in making sure they can retire worry-free. My personal experience in meeting with over 15,000 savers has allowed me the ability and expertise to quickly determine for that saver if he or she can retire, and if so, when. Sadly, many people who do retire with no written game plan and no full service team of local retirement specialists to assist them do later on begin to worry. We know what you can expect in retirement, and we know how much you should have saved based on your particular needs and goals. Our proprietary software, coupled with a well-trained staff, will give you the confidence you need in deciding to retire and when to begin using and enjoying this money that you've worked so hard to save. We're a little unusual at Tony Walker Financial because besides myself, we offer 3 highly trained service fiduciaries who do not work on a commission basis, but are paid a salary to be there to service what I sell. It's an unusual arrangement, but one I think you'll find to be in your best interest. You'll know that you have competent advice along the way, not only when you retire, but long into retirement. So if you are retired, thinking of retiring, or know of someone who isn't sure about how to go about retiring, why don't you log on right now to TonyWalkerFinancial.com or call the toll-free number on your screen. We look forward to helping you enjoy a worry-free retirement, and as always, we're happy to meet or talk to you about your situation at no cost or obligation. With the stock market at all-time highs and our nation's debt through the roof, there's a lot of uncertainty out there. Now may be the best time to safeguard more of your 401k. Let's get started today by logging on to TonyWalkerFinancial.com. My late great father-in-law, whom we all affectionately referred to as Daddy Bill, was a very good fisherman. He was astute, patient, and knew how to find fish, and more importantly, what lures to use to catch them. As a former cane pole fishing kid, I knew nothing about real fishing and was excited to learn that he wanted to take me out on his bass boat for some real fishing. As we proceeded to troll up and down the shoreline of this large lake, we spent hours casting our lures into the areas where the supposed big bass lie in wait. After several hours of not catching any fish, and Daddy Bill obviously sensing my frustration and impatience, all of a sudden he asked, "Hey, you want to really catch some fish?" To which I said, "Heck yeah." So he proceeded to quickly turn his bass boat around, pointed it out from the shore, and drove straight out into the middle of the lake, and as he did, began scanning the water for who knows what. I too, acting like I knew what I was looking for, began scanning the water as well. Then, out of the blue and all of a sudden, Daddy Bill points and says, "There." And I went, "Where?" He said, "There. See that water right there with those ripples?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "Throw your lure right in the middle of that crowd of fish." And not seeing any crowd of fish, by faith, I threw the lure smack dab in the middle of those swirling ripples, and guess what? Caught a fish known as a striped bass, and quickly took the bait, and for about 5 minutes, as fast as you can say cryptocurrency, we caught at least a dozen fish as they piled into that boat. But something interesting happened. Just as quickly as the crowd of fish appeared, they all disappeared. The fun and the party ended as quickly as it started. Crowds of people, and yes, even fish, have a way of doing that, you know. One minute they're here, the next minute they're not. Some 2,000 years ago, there was a man who could draw a crowd, and his name was Jesus. And with Jesus performing miracles and healing people left and right, these weren't just any crowds. In fact, Mark 1 tells us these were large crowds. Crowds of people in search of the latest shiny object who could provide them a miracle or a special healing. We see in Luke 19:1 another large crowd gathers as Jesus is passing through Jericho. In fact, the crowds were so heavy that one local fellow, a tax gatherer by the name of Zacchaeus, who was also very rich by the way, wanted to see what all the fuss was about. However, because of his short stature, he couldn't see over the crowd, so what does Zacchaeus do? He takes the time and trouble to climb up into a tree for a better view. Now, why would this rich man be so intrigued to see Jesus? Well, maybe, like some of us, He realized that after all these years of stockpiling money, that the money wasn't as satisfying as he first thought, that the luster of all this stuff he had might have been wearing thin. And maybe that's you right now. Maybe you've been that hard worker, that person that's saved, and maybe you've put your money at risk, and now you're feeling like the stuff you've worked so hard to accumulate could be gone at any time. Well, mark it down, folks, because it will happen at some point. The luster and the shine of these worldly things that we so dearly possess will one day wear off. And assuming you, or like Zacchaeus, want to know if there's more to life than just accumulating a bunch of stuff, maybe it's time to make the effort to crack open your Bible and to see who this man Jesus was and why he came to earth in the first place. Hopefully, when you do, what happened to Zacchaeus in verse 5 will happen to you when Jesus will tell you to hurry, come down, for today I must stay in your house. Kind of like fishing with cane poles, wouldn't you say? Pretty simple stuff. I think what Jesus reminds us of is this: don't just sit there, but hurry. Come down now so that he can be with you today. Because just like those rippling waters full of crowded fish that me and Daddy Bill encountered some 40 years ago, you better get there quick, because one moment they're there, the next moment they're not. And so too, my friend, is our lot in life. You know, the Bible reminds us that our lives are but a vapor. One moment we're here, we appeareth, the next moment we vanish. It is for this very reason that I wrote the book, Live Well, Die Broke, to encourage savers to use and enjoy this money before it's too late, because one never knows when the fish will stop biting. But we do have control over our next move. So here's my suggestion. Don't delay. Make your move and get a game plan from someone such as myself, a guide who knows where the fish are and how to catch them. Someone who for over 36 years has helped more than 2,500 clients achieve a worry-free retirement by creating safe and simple game plans that you can count on. Game plans that are set up to follow you and your money through retirement before it's too late. So if you're feeling like Zacchaeus, wondering if there's a better way to manage that 401k, maybe earn a better return on your money, but still keep the majority of that money safe, and yes, maybe even a way to leave a tax-free legacy to your loved ones when you're dead and gone, well, right now you've got an opportunity to take action, and that's by logging on to TonyWalkerFinancial.com. Once there, all you have to do is click on the Let's Get Started button, or if you like, you can simply call the toll-free number on your screen. Don't wait, let's talk. You have nothing to lose. There's absolutely no cost or obligation to meet with me in person by phone or at one of our convenient locations in Bowling Green, Louisville, or Lexington, Kentucky. Let's see if we can help you worry less about money and not follow the crowd into risk and uncertainty. Well, we hope you've enjoyed today's program. Next week, I look forward to being with you again. But you remember, between now and then, if all else fails, you be worry-free. Make it a good one.